My name is Luis Granados. I serve as the CEO of the Mission Economic Development Agency. Thank you all for gathering at this great occasion to celebrate the grand opening of Casa Adelante 2060 Folsom. This project is yet another collective win in affordable housing for the Mission and San Francisco. For me, this project is all about building community through advocacy, capacity building, and partnership. Perhaps it is a combination of this housing development along with the park next to us that is making me a little bit nostalgic because both of these projects are long, hard-fought wins for the Mission, by the Mission. MEDA led the effort in creating the park, and MEDA led on the affordable housing side of things. For many of us, these efforts began back in 1999-2000 with the creation of the Mission Anti-Displacement Coalition, which fought the first wave of displacement resulting from the tech boom. At that time, leading those efforts included Carlos Romero, Rene Saucedo, Eric Quesada, Richard Marquez, Antonio Diaz, and Ana Maria Loya, among others. Back then, Tom Amiano was the District 9 supervisor, and Willie Brown was mayor. It has been that long-standing advocacy that has in part led to the creation of this and other similar projects in our neighborhood. However, for MEDA, this project story is also very much about having the technical capacity to make this project and other similar projects a reality. With a focus on housing Latino families, providing permanent space to organizations serving Latino children and youth, and the art which speaks to the issues of our community created by artists in our community and from our community, this project very much feels like it belongs in the Mission. It is the Mission. It is projects like this that showcase what a difference it makes to have the technical capacity to develop affordable housing by our organizations led by people of color for people of color. Let me say that again. Organizations led by people of color, focused on people of color. And at MEDA, we know that despite all of MEDA's good efforts and work, this project was only made possible through strong partnerships. In particular, I want to highlight the partnership with Chinatown Community Development Center, which has been invaluable in creating this project. Through Norman Fong and now Malcolm Young, CCDC specifically partnered with MEDA, very intentionally partnered with MEDA, to leverage their extensive developer experience to help MEDA grow a track record as an affordable housing developer. Paying it forward, MEDA is now working to help other organizations in Bayview and elsewhere in the city, and in the country, by the way, to develop their own capacity and track record as up-and-coming affordable housing developers. Fast forward 20 years later, given the collective advocacy efforts, building MEDA's technical capacity, and forging strong partnerships, we now have a 126-unit affordable housing project with commercial space providing permanent location to 4 of our long-standing community partners, sitting in front of a beautiful park. This is how build community in the Mission. This feels like the Mission. So I will end my statement by sharing my gratitude to all of those who have contributed to making this project happen. I'll start with Speaker Pelosi, who secured a $2 million appropriation that will help our community partners carry out their tenant improvements. Then there's Mayor Breed, whose administration has been key in ensuring that affordable housing in the Mission and in San Francisco remains a top priority. U.S. Bank provided the financing for this project and has been a strong partner with MEDA for over 20 years. About 12 years ago, they financed Casa Adelante when no one else would do it. Again, thank you, Malcolm and CCDC, for your partnership. I also want to thank the MEDA Board of Directors, who has provided guidance and support as we became affordable housing developer over the last 8 years. And they had to trust us that we would know what we were doing and that we were going to take care of the organization and not let the tail wag the dog. But I also must thank our MEDA staff. So for me, working with them, I've seen a remarkable ability for them to be audacious by adapting and pivoting to meet the needs of our community at any moment. Pre-COVID, during COVID, after COVID. And this is especially true of Caroline Feng, our next speaker, who has worked so very hard to make this project happen. Thank you very much, Caroline.
Thank you, Luis. Good afternoon. Welcome. Bienvenidos. Huan Ying. As I look around this amazing building, and I don't think I've really fully conceptualized how amazing it would be from when we conceptualized it, one word comes to mind: community. The community that brought this from a large parking lot and fought so hard to make it into affordable housing and the park. Our community members who now call this building home, 126 households, and the community anchors that now have permanent homes in the Mission. We welcome all of you to your new home in the heart of the Mission. When we first conceptualized this building as a housing opportunity facing the park, we were a neighborhood in transition. Our families were fighting for their roots in the Mission. We wanted Casa Adelante 2060 Folsom to not just be that fight, but be the future for our families. Of our 125 plus homes, we intentionally established 29 homes for transition age youth, who are the future of our community, and an additional 89 for our families, 2 and 3 bedroom homes, so that they could have the space that they needed and deserve. And if the pandemic has taught us anything, that space is really important. Housing is health. Casa Adelante 2060 Folsom is also the future of energy. It's the first fossil fuel-free green building, large, all-electric, affordable housing building in San Francisco. Today is a day for celebration and gratitude. We're celebrating, obviously you all are here to celebrate, the turning of the trend of displacement for Latinos in the Mission District, immigrants and community-based organizations that can now stay. We're also offering gratitude to our Mayan elders, our community members, our residents. Elaine Yi, our Deputy Director of Community Real Estate, who with our team and partners from Chinatown CDC tirelessly led the development of this building from a proposal that we put in front of MoCD to what you see today. Larkin Street Youth Centers for providing on-site programs, our architects, Mithun and Y.A Studio, our contractor, Robert Obayashi, and our funders, who you'll get to hear from in a bit. I want to offer a special tribute to the late Mission artist Yolanda Lopez, with her legacy now celebrated on the north wall of this property. I hope that you guys get to turn around and see it on the other side. It was designed by talented muralist Jessica Sobogal. The 4 walls now have a towering portrait of Yolanda, whose inspiring art focused on the experiences of Mexican American and working class women. And she challenged ethnic stereotypes, featuring the Black Panthers and slogans from our past social justice movements. She represented both our past and our future. This has truly been a collective achievement, and MEDA looks forward to continuing to build with you. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Buenas tardes. Can you hear me okay? Good. My name's Antonio Diaz, and I'm with Poder. And I am honored to be at this grand opening for Casa Adelante. This day and this place is very special. As Luis mentioned, we're here because of community organizing and community planning led by community members, neighborhood residents, artists, small businesses, and community-based organizations in the 2000s, over 20 years ago, to make this a reality. And I'm grateful to see the seeds of the vision of the People's Plan, El Plan Popular, that Poder, MEDA, and many other organizations organized for through the Mission Anti-Displacement Coalition, and to see that it's bearing fruit. This all-electric, 100% affordable housing building right next door to this beautiful park and garden. It's truly a community asset and a win for environmental and climate justice. And I also want to say that we're here because of the commitment to build a better neighborhood for the same neighbors by Poder members and community leaders such as Alisa Briceño, Araceli Lara, Miriam Zamora, Maria Aviles, who are here today, and we honor their work, and I invite them to come up and say a few words.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Alicia Briceño. Esto para mí es un agradecimiento y un sueño para nuestra comunidad y nuestra lucha que hemos organizado con Poder y otras organizaciones que se unieron con nosotros, que sí se puede, nuestra comunidad es beneficiosa.
So, Alisa Briceño, very grateful about this win for the community, and it shows that yes, that we can win.
Muy buenas tardes, mi nombre es Araceli Lara, he trabajado por varios años aquí en la comunidad y este es uno de los logros más grandes que hemos tenido.
So my name is Araceli Lara. I've worked in the community for many years, and this is one of the biggest wins that we've ever had.
Y estos son los frutos que queremos ver cada año. Estas son luchas grandes, pero si nosotros luchamos juntos, vamos a seguir logrando vivir en estos lugares donde antes no podíamos vivir. Así es que tenemos que trabajar la comunidad con toda la gente que trabaja para las comunidades, como el alcalde, que no solo venga a cortar la lista, que venga y trabaje de hombro a hombro con nosotros.
So Araceli is a very inspirational speaker, so I don't know if I can catch all that. But she said that this shouldn't just be a win that we have for this year. We should be celebrating these kinds of wins every year to have housing where we can live. And that it's important that we continue organizing, that it's important for the mayor to be here, not just to cut the ribbon, but to work with us to make things like this happen.
Muchas gracias, señores políticos. Tenemos que trabajar de hombro a hombro para seguir viendo más frutos. Gracias.
So thank you, and we need to continue working hand in hand, all the politicians and everyone else.
Buenas tardes a todos, mi nombre es María Avilés. Estoy muy contenta de estar en este evento y de ver cristalizado este proyecto que llevó muchos años para hacerlo realidad. Veo y, wow, estoy bien feliz de ver el fruto del esfuerzo que se hizo. Y la lucha sigue.
So this is Maria Aviles, she's very emotional about seeing this project come to life. It's very moving, and yes, we can win. So in closing, just want to offer an invitation to all the partners, lenders, decision makers that are here with us today to continue to collaborate with us and support and invest in community-rooted solutions, because as the compañeras have been saying, we can win. Gracias.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you. My name is Michelle Mushley. I'm proud to introduce myself as the Executive Director of Youth Speaks. Shout out to every artist in the room today, every arts organizer, every cultural leader. Shout out to you right now. Like, let's give it up for all the artists in this space. I have all of 3 minutes here to thank all the people that have made this happen. 25 years ago, I was 19, 20 years old. My first open mic was in that green building across the street 25 years ago. If it was not for the work of Christy Johnson Limon, MEDA, the Office of Economic Workforce Development, the Office of Mayor London Breed, all of those who believe in this vision, we would not be here. So I want to say thank you, first of all, to Christy. Yes, let's celebrate, yes. I also want to thank our partners. There are 4 arts organizations, community building, youth-driven organizations that are here. We are so proud and honored that MEDA, Chinatown CDC, and the City of San Francisco is honoring youth voice, yes, and cultural leaders that are a fabric of this community, yes? Yes? I'm not sure. Yes. I promise I'm going to get off in 2 seconds, but I must say this. Youth Speaks and First Exposures, the executive director of First Exposures is right here. I just want to say hi, Eric. Youth Speaks and First Exposures made it here together in this moment, in this space, because we believe in a young person's ability to change the world through their words, their wonder, and their imagination. 25 years ago, Youth Speaks was founded on the social and cultural imperative that says that we must seek out the voices, the texts, and the narratives of solidarity and love. Yes? Especially when our stories have been excluded from the dominant American narrative. Yes? This is a part of that larger story. So I'm going to stop talking. You're welcome. But I am so excited to introduce somebody who to me represents our vision, both at FX and Youth Speaks, Ms. Zoe Dorado. Zoe hails from the Bay Area. She's a 17-year-old. Can I read it? Zoe, is it cool if I let them know who you are? Yeah? Okay. 17-year-old spoken word poet and musician. Please give it up for Zoe Dorado. She is also the Alameda Youth Poet Laureate, the inaugural Youth Poet Laureate of Alameda County, and she also serves on our Youth Advisory Board. Spokes. Please put your hands together in bringing up Zoe Dorado.
Thank you, Mush. Hey everyone, so I wrote this poem about a year ago, but with the perpetual violence that has happened in just the past few weeks, I thought it would be important to share this poem again with you all today. So this poem is called We Breathe. Lola lifts murmurs out of morning breath, breathes out her skeleton from her leather voice, stiff, yes, but smooth also, because isn't this how you wake? Waiting to pick up the body from sleep, Lola sifts through the hallways of her house to go leave for mass. She asks if I too want to wake up at 7:30, and maybe I'm only half holy since I stopped going to church years ago. So now, Lola leaves alone and half-masked, because I caught myself from asking her to stay home because streets sometimes carry a tethered breath. Because maybe it's always been like this, lying in wait, because rates of anti-Asian hate crimes are up 164% since a year ago, since they rose by 283% in San Leandro and since yesterday. An 80-year-old Asian man was attacked there by a group of black and brown boys, bearing one who held 1 year more than me and another holding one more than my little sister. They were 11 and 17. Sit and watch it all happen through a screen dim lit and heavy, the one I hold in my hands, who cradles so many names until they drip down to dirt, and so I try to dig out the dogma that seeps through the bone marrow of our blood. Which is another way of saying I'm pissed, which is another way of saying violence between communities of color didn't begin when Peter Liang, a Chinese-American NYPD cop, shot a Kai Gurley, a 28-year-old black American. Or when Vilma Carey, a Filipina-American, was walking near Times Square and was attacked by Brandon Elliott, and security guards watching it happen from inside the lobby chose to close the door. And isn't that another form of violence? The way we wedge our bodies inside our own diaphragms so we can curl our shoulders in, look down, so we don't have to call the blood our own or our fault because we didn't breathe the same air as that person did. Like we didn't carry a weapon in our mouths, tuck it in and strategically whistle it out through a spit of tweets, convince communities to call their neighbors other, call them contagious, call country and continent a disease, paint a red X across each other's backbone and ask ourselves how it got there. America, my immunocompromised country. The way you cough out bloodstained anatomy pointing to each mouth, body, and look, see where it all leads. How you are both the soil in my Lola's garden. The soil she sows seeds in, but also the dirt resting 6 feet under that buries black and brown bodies. How you hold them in your roots. The ones that wound themselves with the branches of arms and legs until they decompose and become the foundation for what you grow. When I say our histories are intertwined, what I mean is that we breathe the same air. The kind that country claiming other country left, the kind white supremacy left, but also the kind that circulated the Philippine-American War in 1899 when black American soldiers chose to fight alongside Filipinos, the kind that uproots colonialism through collective activism, the kind that called out for ethnic studies in 1965 during the Third World Liberation strikes, how the work isn't finished yet, how we go to the streets when one of us falls, how we hold ourselves gently, but also hold ourselves accountable and do the same for those around us. Which is another way of saying this country needs to call itself out and call itself in, because country means breathing in unison or at least being willing to share the same breath, to breathe the same air, placing our hand to chest and belly, bringing in the space we cleaved to keep each other away, the space that typed in otherness instead of our names. So instead of that, pay homage to the names of Black and Asian American activists and organizers, to Audre Lorde, Grace Lee Boggs, Fran Beal, Gwen Patton, Yuri Kochiyama, Loretta Ross, Patsumi, Miriam Chingyun Louie. Pay homage to my teachers and bus drivers and healthcare workers like my mom, how we keep each other safe. The isang bagsak we clap to cradle our singular exhale in. The United Farm Workers Union of Filipino and Mexican immigrants passing on the singular breath, still breathing, still alive, still Lola waking up in the morning. Still her body aching and tired, still our bodies aching and tired. What is work without movement? Not the willingness to catch and receive and pass on this breath. Not us breathing ourselves in like instinct. Thank you.
How do I follow that? That's what we were talking about. That was beautiful. That was beautiful. Oh, thank you. Oh. Thank you. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Cherie Adriazola, and I'm the one of the residents here at 2060 Folsom. And I've been here for a little bit less than a year, and I'm here to speak about my experience. And so I want to say that first and foremost, I am grateful. I'm absolutely grateful for the experience to be able to live in a community in which I can actually grow roots here and not have the fear of being uprooted. And so I'm grateful to all of you who've gotten together and have made this happen. Sorry. So the beautiful thing about being here is that what I've experienced is this is a reflection of my own culture. I'm biracial, I'm Filipino and Black American, and I have a son who is 6 years old, and he's Peruvian. So I call him my future baby. And truly, he is a reflection of this community, and I'm so grateful that he's able to be raised around children who look like him and he can actually relate to. And again, we're here and we're rooted, and he can grow up with them and not have this fear of making friends and them leaving. I'm also an entrepreneur. So this building has been able to afford me the opportunity to continue running my own company, where I've been able to own my own time. And the one thing that I do understand is and everything starts with an idea, and it starts with a unique idea. And in order for you to be successful in that idea, you need 5 things. You need time, you need support, you need energy, you need resources, and you need funds to make it work. And you need that vision so that everyone can see and follow and align themselves with what this community is. We all have a mission, and that's our call to duty. What do we need to do to make this happen? And it has to be, instilled in values in which we can all come together and kind of have this gut check. When you have this type of community where you have different cultures coming together with different economic backgrounds, there is somewhat of an explosion that happens, right? So everyone has to get to know one another. I have to know what works for you and what works for me. And I think that we are forced to understand one another in this type of capacity. I'm so grateful that I also see that there's also communities, organizations here, because I do, as a creative myself, I connect to the essence of who they are. And I really am about the brand experience. I do brand consulting and design work. And so it really is about how do you want to feel when you finally get there, right? I think that's what it's about. And if any of you do energy work like I do, you're going to manifest how you feel. So if you want to feel safe, you have to surround yourself with people who are safe, the energy that is safe. If you want to feel like that you have security, you have to make sure that you're surrounded by people who have that same type of understanding. But I think the one thing that starts everyone off this starting line is also the way that you think and your philosophy. We all have to kind of be on that same page in order to nurture one another. That's why I'm really grateful for the organizations that are here. I'm excited for my son to be exposed to that type of energy, for real. And I won't take up too much time, but what I've experienced is I'm grateful for the park. It's so nice to have that as our front yard. That's what I call it. That's our park. And I love that it's open to the community because my son makes friends every single day, new friends every day. So it's beautiful. I've also been able to support the surrounding organizations and companies that live that run their businesses. And so, for me, it's about how I feel if I'm going to spend my resources. So they make me feel like I'm a part of the family as well. So I'm going to invest in their success, and they also add to the community here. But the one thing that I do know is when you launch a brand, is that you have to manage it, right? And that has to be based off of what are the benefits, how do we all prosper from that, and the culture of the community. And I think the key to this community is that we have so many different cultures coming together in which we can learn from one another and add to this community. And right now we're kind of a blank slate in a way, and so we're waiting for that to happen. And so, yeah, that's kind of where I am right now, is definitely the management of it. I love how clean it is, and so I would love for them to keep this budget and to be able to keep it clean like this. It's awesome, right? So yeah, as far as like safety and security, I hope that's also a priority here, because the community, I would hate for something to happen to my neighbors, because we all kind of look out for each other, and that's what's happened to the businesses around here, is that we kind of start looking out for each other. So I would hope that we would create a community of safety and security, and convenience for everyone. So thank you again to everyone who made this possible. I just want to let you know that the work that you've put in, it's made a huge difference. Huge. Thank you.
Let's see here. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Malcolm Young from Chinatown Community Development Center. You know, I had a written speech. It was on my phone. Forget it. I'm not going to bother. You can't follow Zoe Dorado with a written speech, so I'm just going to try to speak from my heart. You know, this has been a heavy week for us at Chinatown CDC, so I'm really grateful to be here. Just yesterday, we had a fire in one of our buildings. We had a stabbing, fatality in front of another. And sometimes it just makes you question, you know, how hard this work is, how challenging day to day can be. But coming to a moment like this, seeing this building, seeing the residents here, seeing the leaders here, reminds me of why we do this, and why we struggle through the hard parts of this work to make the great parts happen. So I want to thank, of course, all the partners that have been here today that have made this happen. I do, of course, want to give a special shout out to our team at Chinatown CDC. Whitney and Kim back there, wave your hands. I was actually going to call you guys up there, but I forgot to read my speech, so I didn't. But, you know, thank you so much to the hard work of the Chinatown CDC team. Thank you to the partnership with MEDA. Thank you, MEDA, for choosing us to be your partners, frankly. And I want to just make 3 points. I was going to try to be inspirational, but I don't think I can after all these incredible speakers. You know, one, I find it amazing that this building is not just a home to residents, but a home to a bunch of community-based organizations. Because to me, you know, housing at the very top level is a place of stability, as Cherie mentioned, you know, for its residents. It's a place to make home. It's a place to rest. And a place to find shelter away from all the hard things in the world. But when we care for buildings, when we care for our residents, when we care for our communities, the residents can do miraculous things and give back. And I think they can give back by becoming the leaders, the future leaders for communities like the Mission. They can be the next Antonio Diaz. They can be the next Hillary Ronen. They can be the next London Breed. And that, I think, is going to be the gift of this building back to this community. So I just wanted to acknowledge that housing is not just housing. It's a place to grow leadership if we do it right, and we need to do it right. The second point that I want to make is that this relationship that we have with MEDA, I deeply, deeply cherish it. And I've come to cherish it even more in this moment where we have so much tension and hate between our communities, within our city. The fact that we can sit down with a mission-based organization, do something so special together, physically build a building together, means that in many ways we're married, Luis. And it means that when we have issues with each other, we have to talk. We have to work it out. We have to go home at night and have dinner. Well, wait a minute. Sorry. Confusing that with my wife. We have to talk. We have to work it out. And I hope and I want that relationship to extend beyond this organization, but also into our communities, and make this a bridge for communities like Chinatown, like Mission, that actually share so much in common. We're immigrants, we're low income, we're working folks, we're an immigrant gateway, we're small businesses, we're housing. We need to protect the places that we're in, and it is really, 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 for me, incredibly incredibly gratifying that we can be part of MEDA's journey to become an anchor for this community, to build housing, to control its assets, and to fulfill this vision and dream of BIPOC-led, BIPOC places, BIPOC-anchored CDCs. And I want to just point at Eric, because Eric, I know you share that vision, and that's why I love you, man. So we talked about it. I don't know if you talk about it publicly, but when we talk behind the closed doors, Eric knows that's where he wants to go, and that's where he wants the city to go. And I think that that's exactly where we need to go. So thank you, MEDA, for letting us be a part of that. We really appreciate it. The last thing I also just want to say is that, Chinatown CDC is a partner here. We're going to be in this building for a little bit. We're going to continue to property manage. We're going to continue to provide resident services. But I want to be very, very clear about our intentions. This is a building by the mission, for the mission, run by a mission organization. And it is our intention, MoCD, when you're ready, Gustavo, when you're ready, US Bank, when you guys are ready, and of course, MEDA, when you're ready, it's our intention to make sure that this building becomes MEDA's, so that a mission-based organization can run a mission-based building, and we can just be a friend at that point. So Luis, and to the entire community, to everybody, thank you so much for letting us be a part of this. This is an inspiring moment. I really needed this, and I'm so glad I'm here today. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Hillary Ronan, and I am the lucky one who gets to be the supervisor of this district. And I thought I was going to get lucky going after Malcolm, because with Zoe and Sheree, I was like, oh God, thank God I'm not next. And then Malcolm has to give this amazing, inspiring speech. You guys have really upped the ante here. I just want to say that we've gotten so lucky. I feel, Madam Mayor, that we're always in the mission doing these groundbreakings, and it is the best by far part of our jobs. I really, nothing brings us more happiness and much more joy and more of a sense of accomplishment. But I have to say, this building is even extra special. I don't know about all of you, but when I drive down Folsom or walk down Folsom and I see Yolanda's gorgeous, beautiful face staring down at me, all of that difficult stuff that Malcolm was talking about, it just sheds away. And I remember how Poder had this vision for this space where they wanted a park because there wasn't enough green and open space in this side of the mission, and how they wanted affordable housing with community-based organizations on the ground floor. Araceli was there, Maria was there, Miriam was there, Antonio was there, so much of the Poder family. And it was just a dream. And to now see the reality, to see the kids playing, to see this marriage between two, not just affordable housing developers, but community-based affordable housing developers, MEDA and CCDC, it just lightens the load and reminds us that we're going to be okay. The times are tough. They seem to be getting tougher and tougher. But when we got each other's back and we work together, that we're going to be okay and that we can make dreams a reality. So congratulations. Thank you for producing this building. That makes me feel better every time I'm near it. And thanks for all your inspiration. Congratulations.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sebastian Glowacki. I'm with US Bank Community Development Corporation. And much like Malcolm, I had a 2-page written statement I was going to share with you with a lot of numbers and what banks do and all this, but I really can't. I was inspired by your work. 20 years that you've been fighting for this project. I'm honored to be here. I'm also here to let you know that behind the stereotypical banker, there's a lot of people who truly care about what we do. It's not about the numbers. It's about change. It's about changing people's lives, about changing neighborhoods, about asking for what you want when your voices are not heard. Well, we hear you. We truly hear you. I work in an organization with 600 plus people at this point who are dedicated to making the world a better place. Numbers matter. We're still bankers. However, it's the human stories. It's your stories that I'm going to take back. It's your poem that was so touching, especially during this time, whether it be local or state or international. Your poem really touched a nerve, and I thank you for that. I'm going to take back your stories. At the end of the day, we sell a story inside of the bank. The numbers are there, but it's the story that makes the difference. So thank you very much for letting me be here. Really appreciate this. Amazing, amazing project, both MEDA, CDC, really appreciate it. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Lynn Von Koch-Liebert. I'm the Executive Director of the California Strategic Growth Council, and I'm so excited to be with you here today. One of the distinct privileges that I have within my organization is in partnership with Housing and Community Development, leading the Affordable Housing Sustainable Communities program, which is one of the funding streams that help make this project a reality today. And our core mission at my organization is to create healthy, thriving communities and to support that self-determined goal. And when I look around today, I see health, I see thrivance, I see a community that has come together to make an incredible project come to play. So congratulations to all of you. And one of the things that I think is so important about the Affordable Housing Sustainable Communities program and where we are today is this intersection of affordable housing, equity goals, and climate change. We all know that we need to be creating a community space that gives people sustainability, both in terms of their daily lives, but also our ability to live on this earth. And so the goal of this program is to build together all of these elements in a way that's holistic, that builds upon one another, and that gives us better community spaces for our future. And that can be really hard. And one of the things that is important about making this come together is when you have partners that are willing to work together to think about solutions and to come up with ideas and ways to make it happen. So this is an exciting year for us for the Affordable Housing Sustainable Communities program, because in our last funding round, we awarded over $800 million around the state to projects like this. And in the governor's budget, he has proposed another $1.5 billion for projects that show that housing is a climate solution, and that by bridging these two together, we can solve some of our most pressing challenges and address our community's needs in a way that's meaningful, impactful, and sustainable. And so I guess my ask to you all is, as more of these applicants and programs and partnerships form to be able to create and recreate what you have here, can we bring them here to show you how you've done it? Can we use this as a demonstration project, and can we show how you can do 100% electric, large projects in San Francisco in a way that meets all of the needs of the community? Because what you've done here is leadership, it's game-changing, and it's something I think we can replicate all around the state. So thank you so much, and I really appreciate being able to join you here today. Thank you.
Good afternoon. We're almost done. Thank you very much. First, let me talk briefly to some of the residents. Señoras, quiero decirles que en mi tierra hay un dicho que dice, querer es poder. Y ustedes quisieron y ustedes tuvieron. Esa es una gran visión, un gran logro, así que las felicito a todas las personas que son parte de este gran proyecto. It is great to be here. You've got not one, but two members of the Newsom administration, Lynn and myself. And we're here to demonstrate that for the state of California, this partnership is so important. This partnership with the city of San Francisco, who is doing a terrific job in prioritizing affordable housing, Mayor. Your administration has been steadfast at prioritizing affordable housing. The partnership with MEDA, the partnership with Chinatown CDC, for the state government, for Newsom administration, this is very, very important. And we have in Sacramento historic investments at the moment on affordable housing. And for the last couple of years, what we've been doing is we've been ensuring that we harmonize. First, that we choose what the state priorities to creating more affordable housing is, and then that we harmonize those priorities across the dozens of multifamily housing rental production programs that there are. And this project here exemplifies, embodies so well those state priorities. Let me mention three very quick. First, deeply affordable units. When I hear that the units here will serve individuals and families that earn between 30 and 60% of the area median income, that is essential, because housing for people with very low incomes is the housing that has been underproduced the most in the state of California for many, many years. So we have to ensure that that housing that is deeply affordable gets produced. Now, it costs more money, but it's worth it. It's absolutely worth it. The second priority is fair housing, to ensure that we have inclusive projects, inclusive communities of opportunity. And, you know, Malcolm, you and I don't agree on everything, but I've been learning a lot from you when we know that we have to invest more affordable housing, not just in the more affluent areas, in the more well-resourced areas, because we know a lot of affordable housing in the state of California has been created in areas of concentrated poverty, but it is just as important to continue to build affordable housing, and state of government contribute to the creation of affordable housing in neighborhoods, in communities where you protect and retain the cultural heritage of those neighborhoods, where people in good and bad times that were living here generations before stick around and they want to stay in this community. So fair housing is critically important. And third, that Lynn explained so well, the connection between where housing is being built and the ability to have a cleaner air, less pollution. And that is a factor of where we build based on the proximity that residents have to the things that matter the most for them. Proximity to. Get them out of the car, walk to jobs, to schools, to the places that they need. So again, this project just is such a great example of the kinds of things that the state government is prioritizing in a time where we have historic levels of investment, and we need to just scale up. We need to just maximize those resources and continue to create housing like the housing that we are celebrating today. And with that, let me bring to the stage the biggest champion of affordable housing in the city of San Francisco, arguably one of the biggest champions of affordable housing in the state of California, Mayor London Breed.
Well, first of all, thank you, Gustavo. And let me just say this, and please don't tell the governor this, but you are actually my favorite person in Sacramento. And he's my favorite person in Sacramento because he understands why a project like this is so important to the people of San Francisco, and has been very supportive of the work that we do, because it does take a village. In fact, these projects that started, Supervisor Ronan mentioned, we've been at a number of these groundbreakings in the Mission District in particular, and these projects started when I was on the Board of Supervisors and you were working for the then supervisor of this district, and this community rallied and came together with data and also experience about what was happening specifically in the mission, and wanted to see change, wanted the city to invest. And at that time, Mayor Lee made a $50 million investment to begin that process of analyzing this district and looking for properties. This was a parking lot, and other sites were they were empty places that we were able to purchase and to work together to come up with the resources to make sure we made the investment. Those resources involved, yes, money from the city, but we couldn't do it alone and get it done this fast in bureaucratic years. We wouldn't be here right now. And the fact is, we came together. We worked with the state. We worked with the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, who was an important part of this project in particular and others in the mission. And as of today, this is the 649th unit that we've been able to open in the mission community so far, with more to come. And I wish it was a lot faster. But here's the thing, and what I remember when I served on the Board of Supervisors as well, there was a lot of push for more housing opportunity. But what I remembered in the Fillmore and what happened to the community I grew up with there is all this housing was built, but we weren't always able to get into the housing that was built in our community. And that's why this community joined me in fighting for neighborhood preference, so that we can make sure that when we tell a community that we're going to build housing, that there is a real opportunity for the people who actually live here to have access to these units. That was so much more important to me than anything else, a commitment to the community. And because of that, we have neighborhood preference with this project. We want to end youth homelessness, and I know Sherlyn Adams is here with Larkin, and so I'm so glad that we have Youth Speaks and First Exposure, some great youth organizations that do extraordinary work for young people, and our goal in the city is to do everything we can to end youth homelessness, so housing for transitional age youth in this project as well. This is a dream. This is what's possible when we come together. This is what's possible when we work hard to do extraordinary things. Can you imagine being a kid, hanging out in this courtyard, and I don't know if kids still play hopscotch and jumping jacks and all that stuff we used to play, maybe video games, but they need to be outside anyway. But playing in this courtyard, yelling up to the window, "Mama, I'm finna go to the park." Heading out this door to the park to enjoy your neighborhood and to grow up talking about these experiences. This is a dream. It's so much more than housing. It's a community filled with community-based organizations who've been doing extraordinary work, filled with MEDA and CCDC who believe in affordable housing for people in San Francisco of all ages. This is an extraordinary project, and I'm so happy to be here today and so proud to represent the city in this way. So now it's time to do what we all been waiting for, even though everybody's already moved in. But COVID put us in this situation, so we don't want to miss out on these celebrations, these milestones, even though we couldn't stop people from moving in who needed these housing units right now. So here we are, ready to cut the ribbon. Luis, are you ready? Supervisor Ronan, are you ready? Poder, are you ready? Yes, let's do this.